Hi, everybody. We're here today to talk about the Calgary real estate market outlook for 2023. We're about to jump into the spring market, which is when all the action starts here. But we want to look at it today through the lens of a real estate investor. So joined today with Corinne Lowen, longtime Redline real estate agent, tons of experience in the investment property space. Hey, Corinne, thanks a lot for coming out here today.
Thanks for having me, Brett. I look forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, so Corinne, we're seeing lots of real estate outlooks on the overall market. The Canadian real estate market is cooling down now with increases in interest rates and all of that starting to slow sales activity down. Prices are starting to drop in Ontario and Vancouver. But tell me a little bit about what you're experiencing in Calgary and what it's like in the market out there right now.
Well, I feel like Calgary's sort of sitting pretty, as is the entire province. I think when you look at it from a national standpoint, we're still fairly affordable. A few of the other markets like, BC and Ontario have increased to the point where there's nowhere to go. And now those investors, as well as just people living, are looking towards Alberta as a more favorable area. It's more affordable. There's lots of opportunity here. So I think on the whole, we're sitting pretty here in Calgary.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've just pulled up the report from the Calgary Real Estate Board forecast. And so this report is designed to provide insight about the overall market, but they do have a lot of really good research from an economic fundamentals point of view. And you just mentioned how we look compared to some of the other markets here. We're less than half price of Toronto and Vancouver, both of those markets at almost $1.2 million. And Calgary, despite having come up almost $100,000 from pre-pandemic in 2019, we're still sitting at just under $520,000. So relatively affordable compared to those two markets. So are you seeing interest from outside of Alberta in our market right now, Corinne?
I am, absolutely. I would say, my out of province buyers has increased tenfold in this last year. Probably 60%, I'd say, of the transactions I've been doing lately are people looking to move to Alberta. They've sort of maxed out in the other provinces and they want to invest their equity in Alberta. Obviously Calgary, it's looking a little better than Edmonton, but the whole province is amazing and is suddenly quite desirable.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie either. They kind of support what you were just saying, where we've got interprovincial net migration. So this is the amount of people moving to Alberta from other provinces in the country. And you can see here we've got really good numbers. 18,000 people from Ontario moving into Alberta because they're just priced out of the real estate there. They can't afford to buy yet, and are coming over to Alberta to hopefully buy real estate, but also to rent, to get started and have a new life here, given the growth economy, or how strong the economy is here in Alberta. So what you're experiencing is being supported by the broader set of numbers here, Corinne, which is good news for anybody who owns real estate in Alberta.
Yeah, absolutely. 70,000. Wow, that's
70,000 people. Yeah, I thought
that was ready for that.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see why. It's because we're getting really great job growth here, right? We've got Alberta is at 5.1% employment growth relative to Canada, which is a little bit less than that, just under 4. But if you look down here at Calgary, maybe I can try and zoom this in just a little bit to make it a bit easier to see. But you can see here Calgary at 7.67%, which is really strong growth numbers, and at a very modest unemployment rate being forecast at 5.8% in 2023 this year. So it's not just because it's unaffordable elsewhere. We're also seeing job growth here in Alberta as an attractor to bring people in to our province to work and build their families. And that's just old school real estate, the real estate cycle and what you would look for when trying to pick a local market. And so I think that's really good news for all of Alberta and for Canada too, that Alberta's looking to do so well this year.
It's the land of milk and honey right now.
Yeah. Okay, you talked a little bit about 50 or 73,000 people moving here, what do you think? What's happening in the new construction market out there, Karine? You know, are builders, are prices leveling off? What's the activity like, out there in the new construction space? Because after that, I want to touch on the starts relative to migration and what that could mean for our market. But tell me a little bit about the new construction space in Alberta and Calgary right now.
Well, we're up this year compared to last year slightly. However, I don't think it's near enough to sort of compensate, I guess, for the in-migration that we're expecting. So I think that we're going to see a lot more of it moving forward because there just isn't enough space for people to live, basically.
I'm trying to zoom in here and it shows 2022, just under 18,000 new homes were built last year. And in the year before that, a little bit less than that, just under probably around 15,000. But we had 72,000 people move to Alberta last year as well. So we're not keeping up with the pace of growth in terms of migration to our province, which can mean only one thing for housing, which is continued demand and escalating prices in our market. Which I think is again a good thing for Calgary and should help to soften the blow of these increased interest rates that we've got coming that are affecting the whole country here as well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay, so this is just an overall kind of take on the real estate market. Now, it doesn't speak just to investment, but it does show what is like how the economic fundamentals are showing up in the housing market numbers and the data coming out of it, right? And so we're seeing here, we've got inventory that's dropped by quite a bit. It's not being met with new listings. And so what that means is this months of supply, which has always been my favorite stat for real estate, because if it's at or around 2.5 months worth of supply, it's considered a balanced market. If it's more than that, it would be a buyer's market. And if it's less than that, it's a seller's market. And for all of 2022, we were very solidly in seller's market territory at under 2 months worth of supply here, which is why we had double-digit price growth. And so it will be interesting to see what happens early this year. And so far, we're not seeing the inventory levels come up to add enough supply to quell this demand, even in spite of the interest rate increases. So what do you think we're going to see this spring? Do you think it's going to be kind of an even market, or what's your crystal ball telling you, Karine, about what's going to happen this year?
Oh man, well, I wish I had a crystal ball, but I guess a realtor with boots on the ground, I'm hoping that we see these sort of annual influx come spring, right? I think despite economics and all the other sort of maybe unique variables we've got going on right now, there typically is a little influx in the spring. So I'm looking forward to that because there just isn't anything out there right now. Basics.
We do need some more inventory. That's for sure. Just to keep our market from getting too heated. I don't mind that kind of mid to high single digit growth. That's great for real estate investors. It's great for the economy. You can keep up with that. It's when you start getting, the mid teens in terms of growth year by year, that's when it starts to get much, much harder for everyone to kind of keep up with. So I want to talk about rents next because we're seeing this talk about interest rates increasing, which is going to mean that people can't afford to buy, and so they're going to stay as tenants. We've got with all of the rental construction that we know has been happening in the last few years, we're kind of expecting that to keep rents kind of normal, or standard anyway. But now we've got 17% here in terms of how much the rents have come up in this last year, and prices have come up by 12%. So when your rents are increasing at a higher rate than your prices, that's good news for anybody who's looking for positive cash flow. But is that translating in the Calgary market for you? I know you own a whole pile of investment properties too, and you work with so many investors. Are they getting those numbers? Is this legit? Is it a better rental market for real estate investors right now?
I think so. I think initially things have to equalize. People have to figure out, where they're at with the shifts in interest rates, as well as, if you had tenants sort of in long term and you don't feel like you're in a position to maybe raise the rents to market, then there might be a little bit of a stickiness there. However, the rental increase is nicely offset, in my opinion, the interest rate increase, and it kind of keeps the economics healthy. Yeah, I mean, it's an all-time low for rental inventory as well. So you put a sign in the window and you're inundated with applicants. I think, as much as it feels like it's gone up here, when you look at this graph and from a national standpoint, rents are still very affordable as well. So, I think, given all the circumstances, landlord will be king for a little bit here. And anyone who has rental properties, it's a great time to be in that game in Alberta.
Still well under $3,000 a month across Alberta, or sorry, $2,000 a month rather, for a 3-bedroom property, which I think is good for affordability for someone who's moving here from another province for a new job, looking to save up and then get into the housing market. I think you can do that in Alberta still, when that might be tough to do in some of the other markets where the pricing is up near $1 million and the rents are so high as well. Harder to scrape together that equity to get in for a down payment.
It really is.
Okay, well, I think we're going to have a really exciting year this year in Alberta. I mean, we are not as crazy and as overheated as other markets have been. We're seeing all the right economic fundamentals coming in with positive job creation, positive net migration, low construction relative to migration. So I think we're going to see a good year here. The increased interest rates are also actually good in many ways for real estate investors for two reasons that I like anyway. For one, it just adds strength to the rental market, so you know that you're going to continue to have a good pool of tenants there, because anyone who's on the bubble is just going to find it a little bit harder to qualify to get into property. But it also means that the smart investors, the one that watch our YouTube channel, the one that attend events with us and work with us, it's those investors that are going to be able to position themselves to get the equity together, to be able to handle higher interest rates and still qualify and find the best deals this year. So, I mean, Corinne, do you have any advice for anyone who's contemplating an investment property this year? And what would you tell your clients that might be considering an investment property purchase in the Calgary market this year?
Well, as always, make sure that the numbers work, right? And give yourself a bit of a cushion in case, we go up for a little bit, but everything is cyclical. So, I think the sophisticated investors are sort of in acquisition mode, honestly. Like, if you watch history, the empires are built during those times of fear. And I think we're sort of sitting right in that perfect storm right now. So if you can scrape together, right, it is a good time to get in. And, if you're holding for the long term, I think you'll do all right.
That's fantastic. Well, I wanted to thank everybody for watching. If you're in the market for an investment property this year, please feel free to reach out to us. Happy to get you connected with Corinne to give you a hand to go shopping here this year. And if you own property and are wondering what equity position you might have, maybe you've got a mortgage coming due or you're contemplating selling some property to get into a bigger and better investment property, again, feel free to reach out to us so we can help get your property evaluated so you know what you're working with this year in terms of the strength of your portfolio. So, Corinne, thank you very much again for joining us here today. And thank you very much for watching, everybody.
Thank you. See you later.